Now, the meeting between top Afghan officials and Pakistan's former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif in London has stirred a storm in Pakistan. The National Security Advisor of Afghanistan, Hamdullah Mohib, along with the Minister for Peace, Syed Sadat Naderi, held a discussion with Nawaz Sharif in London. At the London meeting, the two sides discussed issues of regional security and stability in the face of the rising Taliban control in Afghanistan. Hamdullah Mohib had shared pictures of the meeting on Twitter, and this after which Pakistan ministers have lashed out at Nawaz Sharif. Now, Pakistan's National Security Advisor, Moeed Yusuf, said that sending Nawaz Sharif out of Pakistan was dangerous because such people become collaborators in international conspiracies. Information Minister Fawad Chaudhry said that Hamdullah Mohib had off and on expressed his hatred and used derogatory language against Pakistan, and this meeting was an attempt to further poison the atmosphere between the people of the two countries. Pakistan's Human Rights Minister Shireen Mazari had gone ahead to say that common interest between the two sides can only be to attack Pakistan. While Sharif's daughter, Maryam Nawaz Sharif, tweeted photos of the meeting and said that the talking to everyone was the essence of her father's diplomacy, she slammed the Imran Khan government, saying it doesn't comprehend such practices and hence was a complete failure. Now, the Afghan government has repeatedly accused Pakistan of supporting the Taliban and preventing the Afghan forces from carrying out military operations against them. Recently, Afghanistan President Ashraf Ghani and Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan engaged in a sharp exchange of words over Islamabad's role in the Taliban's surge in recent weeks. Ghani alleged that more than 10,000 jihadi fighters have entered Afghanistan from Pakistan in the last month. He had accused Islamabad of failing to convince the Taliban to participate seriously in the peace talks. Pakistan Prime Minister has rejected the charges, saying it was unfair to blame Pakistan for the situation in Afghanistan. The ties between the two sides have further deteriorated since the daughter of the Afghan ambassador to Pakistan was briefly kidnapped in Islamabad on the 16th of July. Thereafter, Kabul had recalled its ambassador from Islamabad, demanding punishment for those responsible. Now, Ahmad Shuja is joining us live on this broadcast from Kabul. Shuja is the head of the International Relations and Regional Cooperation at the ONSCs. Hello and welcome to WION. Now, my first question to you is, former Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif is facing flack from the Pakistan government for his meeting with the National Advisor of Afghanistan, Hamdullah Mohib, in the UK. Now, you were a part of the meeting. Can you tell us what was discussed between Nawaz Sharif and the Afghan NSA?
Look, the Afghan National Security Advisor has met with Chief of Army Staff General Bajwa. He has met with the DGISI General Faiz Hamid. Our president has met with the aforementioned generals, but they've also met with Imran Khan. Pakistani politicians have also met with Afghan politicians who are not in the government. And so it is only natural that these consultations, these conversations, we're neighbors anyway, to happen in the region that we're in. Pakistani government officials do this regularly themselves. The Afghan NSA did this meeting with the former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif as well. This is not outlandish. It is not secretive. It is not something that would be conspiratorial. It is something that both the governments engage in at some times, and they talk about issues that neighbors talk about, the issues that affect both countries.
Can you elaborate on the discussions that took place on the Afghan security situation?
There has been an effort to whitewash the Taliban as somehow they've become these huggy teddy bears, that they've left their edge and that they've left their wilderness behind them. That is not the case, and we're beginning to see that on a daily basis. The Afghan government, the Afghan National Defense and Security Forces knew this because they were at the tip of the spear bearing the brunt of the Taliban's violence. And so we have been reminding for the past 2 years, not just our counterparts and colleagues in the US, but also the world, that this group of people that are using terrorist means and elements and violence is not what you think they are, because you're being fooled by their rhetoric, because their actions are different.
Right. Now, we are hearing reports that an Afghan interpreter with the name Sahel Paradis was brutally killed by the Taliban recently. How does the Afghan government plan to secure and protect the interpreters once the US completes its troop pullout from Afghanistan?
Look, the Taliban has actually taken hundreds of people out of their homes in areas that have come under their control recently, not just in Kandahar, but Kandahar being the most egregious recent example of some of these documented abductions by the Taliban terrorists, and also documented massacres by these terrorists. There are similar things happening in other parts of the country in which the Taliban set foot. Malistan district in Ghazni is one of them. Parts of other districts in other parts of the country is being another. This group does not tolerate dissent. This group does not tolerate opposition. This group has not shed in its instinct to suppress and to brutalize and to kill. And unfortunately, it can be expected that in the recent weeks, more documented evidence of their atrocities would come to the fore.
Now, taking that into account, what about the role that Pakistan should be playing?
Here's what we think you can do, and you probably should do, and it'll be really, really very effective. Kick the Taliban leadership off your soil. That is where they're planning, they're strategizing, they're training, and they're legitimizing their fighters. Stop the treatment of Taliban terrorists in your hospitals for free. These are public hospitals. Number two, kick the training and the recruiting grounds of the Taliban from your soil. That would make a qualitative difference and would make it easier for us in Afghanistan to actually have a good chance to defeat the Taliban once and for all. I think the Pakistanis have a unique role. It's a role that no other country can play, and it's a role that we've been trying to engage them to play constructively, but I think they've been obfuscating the reality of their influence over the Taliban by downplaying it as it suits their interests.
Ahmad Shuja, thank you very much for your time and being with us on this broadcast.
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.